Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee joins us now. He's the author of a new book. It's called Our Lost Declaration, America's Fight Against Tyranny. Senator Lee, thanks so much for joining us. So you seemed, after the briefing, very offended by the lack of information given to you. Was the administration basically just saying, hey, come on, trust us?
Look, Jake, in that briefing, we didn't receive very much information that wasn't already available through public media sources. This is one of the things that's very frustrating. When something like this happens, when events are unfolding quickly, events that will have a profound impact on national security and military strategy, Congress does need to know about it, in part so we can evaluate the scope of our authority to act or choose not to act. We didn't get that, and that was disappointing. But look, Jake, I want to make very clear. I issued a statement within a few hours of the attack on General Soleimani, announcing that this was a good development from the standpoint of the security of the American people. We are, in fact, safer as a result of the fact that he's dead. If you see a wounded veteran anywhere in America and they're missing a limb or they're badly disfigured, odds are pretty good that that veteran may have been wounded by an IED that was developed and deployed under General Soleimani's leadership and at his direction. And so this development is good for the security of the American people. But it does matter that we give the details to members of Congress. And it does matter to figure out where we go from here and to make sure that any further action is authorized by Congress.
So you just heard Secretary Esper say that he does not think further military action specifically against Iran would be covered by the 2001-2002 AUMF authorization for use of military force. Do you think President Trump has the authority to conduct another strike against Iran without congressional approval?
Well, I agree with Secretary Esper insofar as he was saying that. I think he's absolutely right. And if he agrees with that, which it sounds like he does, then he should agree to support the War Powers Resolution that Senator Kaine has agreed to introduce with amendments that I've suggested that acknowledges that neither the 01 nor the 02 AUMF can be read to support further military action against Iran, and that in the absence of an AUMF or declaration of war by Congress, or in the absence of an actual or imminent attack, there's no justification for further military action.
So listen, you and I agree. Soleimani had the blood of innocents on his hands and was a bad person. The question is whether or not the intelligence behind his attack was what it is being presented as. And do you have any concerns? I mean, we've heard mixed messages and conflicting stories about the reason for the attack, whether it's the existential threat that Soleimani posed versus an imminent attacks versus an attack on one embassy versus an attack on 4 embassies. You know, you and I have sat through this movie before, conflicting, changing information, intelligence juiced in order to justify certain actions. How worried are you about the integrity of the information we're being told?
Well, I'm worried, and as a United States Senator and as a voter and citizen, I've learned not to simply take the federal government's word at face value. I mean, look, we were lied to about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. We were lied to for a couple of decades about what was happening in Afghanistan. We've been lied to about a lot of things. It's not to say that the government is always lying or that the people who run it are inherently evil. It's just that they're human, and these things do happen. And so that's important to ask these questions, to make sure that we know the details. And insofar as we're dealing with the inherent tension between the Article 2 Commander-in-Chief power enjoyed by the President and the Article 1, Section 8 Declaration of War power, on the other hand, controlled by Congress, members of Congress do need to be apprised of the information underlying a particular decision.